The greatest way to improve your life is to become intentional in your life. So many times we expect things to come our way, and instead of leading our life and being intentional, we just accept our life. And if you accept your life, you'll never maximize your giftedness, you'll never maximize your opportunities. If you're going to succeed in life, you're going to have to be very intentional in what you do.
The version of you that got you here can't take you further. So it has to be broken down before something stronger replaces it. That's why it feels uncomfortable. You're in between identities. The mistake is judging this phase like it's supposed to look like progress. It doesn't. It's building something underneath first. So instead of asking, why isn't this working yet? Ask, what is this phase trying to build in me right now? Because you're not falling apart, you're being restructured. Move like that's true.
You're either going to spend your life watching other people do the things you want to do, and then you're going to end up on your deathbed and go, wow, I really blew it. I didn't push myself through all of those fears and those excuses when I could have. I really regret how I spent the time that I had. So you're either going to spend your life watching other people do the things that you want to do and then spend a lot of time making up excuses. But you gotta, at some point, wake up and realize you got what you got.
Your innate power, we both have it. You and I, we, the few, are the last line of defense. The counter movement. So set the example. Give more, be more, do more, even if it's just one more. Step into your power and work hard to design your life. Lead others with your servant heart to do the same. We will not stop until we restore hard work to the rank and respect it deserves, to the rank and respect it once had.
In this life, you got one shot, and you gotta make it count. If you don't make it count, you're gonna feel like you're missing out. You don't want that feeling at all.
Some people you will allow to unnerve you, and you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life.
Realists are not afraid to look at the harsh circumstances of life. They sharpen their eye by paying keen attention to details, to people's intentions, to the dark realities hiding behind any glamorous surface.
And you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside.
You are more alone than you imagine. This should not be a source of fear, but of freedom. When you prove to yourself that you can get things on your own, then you experience a sense of liberation. You are no longer waiting for people to do this or that for you, a frustrating and infuriating experience. You have confidence that you can manage any adverse situation on your own. Think of it this way. Dependency is a habit that is so easy to acquire. We live in a culture that offers you all kinds of crutches, experts to turn to, drugs to cure any psychological unease, mild pleasures to help pass or kill time, jobs to keep you just above water. It is hard to resist. But once you give in, it is like a prison you enter that you cannot ever leave. You continually look outward for help, and this severely limits your options and maneuverability. When the time comes, as it inevitably does, when you must make an important decision, you have nothing inside of yourself to depend on.
But in the end, the most important thing is, what's the purpose of your life? Why are you here?
You got to jump. You got to take that gift that's packed away on your back. You got to jump off that cliff and pull that cord. You can play it safe and deal without the cuts and the tags. And you can stand on that cliff of life forever safe. But if you don't jump, I got another promise I can make you. Your parachute will never open. You'll never know.
You gotta take a beat, you gotta take this, you're gonna get locked out. You gotta get up, but you gotta work hard.
This 24 hours belongs to me.
Right.
And whatever I do in this 24 hours will determine where I'll be tomorrow and the next day. And I think that's what people need to focus on. Like, get off of this, I want to make 6 figures. I want to drive this car. I want to live in this house. I think what people should be focusing on is, I have 24 hours. Like Oprah only has 24.
Yeah.
Bill Gates only has 24. Like Warren Buffett only has 24 hours. And in that 24-hour period, I can either break my life or make my life.
Strength isn't always about standing with a crowd. It's about standing alone when you have to. When the world gets quiet and it feels like no one sees your struggle, remember this: every great warrior has faced battles alone. Use that solitude to grow, to focus, and to become unstoppable. You don't need anyone's approval to rise. Your strength is enough.
So listen to me. There are those of you who said, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be the best at this company, right? But your value system says you believe in sleep more than you believe in grinding. Your value system says you are a consumer and not a producer. That you're spending more money than you're making. Why? Because you're a consumer, but you're reading all the books and you're saying everything the books are saying, but those books are not in alignment with your value. If you're gonna go to the next level, your values are gonna have to change.
Talent and good intentions are never enough in this world. You need to be fearless and strategic.
You're driven by your need to please others. If you're driven by your fear, if you're driven by your past, maybe it's time to free yourself. And the way to do it is decide. Decide consciously what you want your life to be about. Decide consciously what's the purpose of your life.
I will not go gently into that good night. I will rage against the dying of the light. I will practice random kindness and senseless acts of beauty, because minds are like parachutes and they only function when open. And Timothy Leary was right. In order to use your head, you've got to go out of your mind. It all comes down to controlling and mediating our attention. So if you are a wonder junkie, if you believe as Carl Sagan did, that understanding is a kind of ecstasy, if you are hungry for the sublime, learn to control your attention. Learn to control your mind, your thoughts, because you created the linguistic choices, the very words you use to map the reality. Feed that into your reality. You are the painting, you are the paintbrush, you are the canvas. You are the question, you are the answer to the question you are looking for. You are also, my friends, the question. You are everything. We are everything. We are sentient, we are conscious. It's the most sublime, miraculous thing in the universe. So you better be having a good time and authoring your fate. Turn your life into a living and breathing work of art, because anything less will be a tragedy.
It's only after we've lost him, we're free to do anything.
Being alone isn't a weakness. It's a proving ground. It's where you discover what you're truly made of. When no one is there to lift you, you learn to lift yourself. In the silence, you find your power. Stand tall, even when it's just you, because sometimes that's all you need to conquer the world.
In 365 days, you'll have another year to look back on, and you could choose right now for it to be a gratifying reflection, or you could choose to be what your future self looks back on in disappointment. No matter what you do, you'll arrive at that day, and you'll come to the realization that time will never wait for you. You see, most people hate their past self, but I guess it's rarely enough to see the self of right now as an opportunity to fix that for the future. Do not outsource pain to your future self. Please make them happy.
If you feel out of place because you'd rather work on yourself than settle, then you're exactly where you need to be. Choosing effort over ease won't make you popular, but it will make you powerful. Every small decision to take the harder road adds up. It shapes you into someone who's unstoppable. Most people take the easy way. That's why most people don't stand out. The world doesn't need another follower. It needs leaders who dare to be different. It needs people like you. So don't stop now.
A journal and start journaling and writing down your thoughts and writing down your dreams. And when I say that, pick up a pen and a journal and write it down. Dreams, I know this sounds woo-woo, but it's not. Dreams are really powerful, very interesting. They can tell you a lot about yourself. He's going to tell you about those journeys your brain takes at night that are pretty fantastical. You write that down, you go back into your childhood and you go, what was it that made me so different? What that was so weird about me? What was it that I was attracted to? As you go through that process, things will start coming up and memories will come up and you'll start connecting to who you were when you were young and you're connecting to who you were as an adolescent.
You should be excited, extremely excited, because this is what all the effort that you put in was for. This is what all the sleepless nights that you spent staring up at the ceiling, wondering if you're delusional, if all this is going to work out, is for. This isn't the end of the line, my friend. I'm not saying that you're going to obtain and achieve everything that you've ever wished for, but what I am saying is that very, very soon, you will realize that it's all worth it.
You want to achieve your goals, but you're trapped between two realities. Wanting to be disciplined, but not acting disciplined. The only way out is to open the box. And you open that box by taking action. Think about it. How often is it that you dream of getting the results you want? Getting fit, building that business, accomplishing something big, but then you stay stuck in the same place, too comfortable to change. You're trapped between desire and hesitation, alive with potential but not fully real yet. You have to open that box, and you open the box by taking action. So here's what you're going to do next time you procrastinate. Next time that excuse pops up, take action instead. Force yourself, will yourself into motion to get that thing done. And I guarantee you that the second you start doing that is the second you start making progress towards your goals.
You don't need a therapist. You need to stop defining normal life as a problem. Growth is stressful. Decline is stressful. Stagnation is stressful. Life is stressful. The only thing that it actually tells you is that you're alive. Because you want to know who lives stress-free? Dead people.
The thing about pain is, like, you feel it right now, it's temporary, man. But later in life, you don't remember the pain. You just remember, like, the glory and the good times, like, exhilaration of pride and achievement, man. That outweighs all the pain, struggle, because if you push through the pain to achieve the pride, you forget about the pain was ever even there. But if you can't push through the pain and the pain stops you and breaks you down, well, then that pain is forever, because you never got pride to outbalance it.
Science shows our expectations can drastically affect how we perceive reality. People who believe they are capable of doing something are far more likely to do it. People who believe they will heal from an injury or illness do so quicker and more consistently. The mind is a really powerful thing, and it affects our bodies and relationships in ways that we don't fully understand. This is why the advice to think positive works for so many people. It trains them to expect better things, which then makes those things more likely to happen. Leverage the expectation effect to your advantage.
Believe in the impossible, not because it's easy, but because the alternative is settling for less than you're capable of. Convince yourself that you can do it, even when the odds are stacked against you. That belief isn't just your starting point. It's the fuel that gets you through the days when nothing seems to work. Doubt might visit, but it doesn't get to stay. Because when you refuse to give up on yourself, it's only a matter of time before you win.
Okay, y'all ready for a lecture? Talk about the importance of nothing. You get up every day, you're entitled to nothing. Nobody owes you nothing. You could have talent, but if you don't have discipline and you don't execute, you don't focus, what do you get? Nothing. If you're complacent, and not paying attention to detail. What does that get you? Nothing. So, nothing is acceptable but your best. Everything is determined by what you do and you trying to be your best. And that's the only thing. There should be nothing else.
You want motivation and you want inspiration. That's great. I think you should have them. In fact, I think it's like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. I think you should have motivation and inspiration from external sources on a daily basis. It's what you do with that motivation and inspiration that matters. You see, the motivation and inspiration that you receive should require action. It should get you to take a step. It should get you to do something, make progress towards a goal or a dream or something it is you're trying to accomplish. If you use that motivation and inspiration to take action, that will start to create habits. And those actions that turn into habits create discipline.
Understand this also. You have these dreams. Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, light goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, minute by minute goals. Dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. Goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. Between goals and achievement are discipline and consistency.
You were right all along, Phil. Dreams are for rookies.
No, kid. Giving up is for rookies. I came back because I'm not quitting on you. I'm willing to go the distance. How about you?
There are two kinds of sufferers in this world. Those who suffer from a lack of life and those who suffer from an overabundance of life. The realm of the real spirit, the true artist, the saint, the philosopher, is rarely achieved. Why so few? Why is world history and evolution not stories of progress, rather this endless and futile addition of zeros? No greater values have developed. Hell, the Greeks 3,000 years ago were just as advanced as we are. So what are these barriers that keep people from reaching anywhere near their real potential? The answer to that can be found in another question, and that's this. Which is the most universal human characteristic? Fear or laziness?
Creating that discipline and then supplementing it continually with additional motivation as I create those discipline things around it. That allows me to start creating internal motivation and internal inspiration. And when I combine those together with the external sources that bring me those, man, success and what I can accomplish, that level goes so far up. That's when I start seeing my actual potential. When I use those things to get me started to light that initial fire and then use it and take an actual step. And I don't care how big that step is. If you've never worked out, I don't expect you to go to the gym for 2 or 3 hours every day as a first step. The first step is go to the gym. Maybe you don't even get out of your car. Maybe you just get there. Because the motivation and inspiration got you to get in your vehicle and drive to the gym. That's step one. And then you use it again the next day, and now we drive to the gym and we actually walk in, but maybe we just take a lap. Maybe we just walk around the gym and see what it has to offer. And the next time we actually go in, we walk around, we sit down and we do 5 or 10 minutes of working out. You see, those are starting to create the action steps that are becoming the habits. My habit is now daily I go to the gym. And then I can take that habit one step further through discipline. I can start going there and actually doing something. And every time I go there and do a little bit more, it creates that internal motivation because now I start to see progress. And that progress creates internal motivation. And now that internal motivation combined with that external motivation takes me to levels that I belong in. because you were built for greatness. And using the external motivation and inspiration to get that journey started, that's how we get there.
Every single day you wake up with a choice. You can either do the thing that you did yesterday that got you a little bit closer to who you want to be, or you can do something else. That's your choice. There is no such thing as staying consistent. It is just a matter of choosing to do the thing that you did yesterday that got you closer to your goals instead of choosing to do something else. That is what it boils down to. There's no secret, there's no hack, there's no motivational video that's going to teach you how to make the right choice. You just have to choose it. You don't worry about the past choices that you've made. You don't worry about the choices you're going to make tomorrow. You worry about the choice that is right in front of you. You can either do the thing that got you closer, or you can do the thing that got you further away.
Problems in your life are your own dang fault. And so the answer into fixing the problems in your life are in your own dang hands. The responsibility for the well-being of your family, your wife, your husband, your children are yours. Are yours. But it takes guts. It takes a sense of responsibility. It takes a backbone. It takes men and women with the bark on. Quit pointing the finger, look in the mirror, and go get it done. Make the hard decisions, make the sacrifice, and fix stuff.
Have you ever stopped to ask yourself the tough questions? The ones that truly matter? Not the kind you toss around in passing, but the ones that dig deep into who you are, what you want, and why you're here. The kind that force you to slow down and face the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Let's face it, most of us live our lives on autopilot. We follow the rules society sets for us, chase goals that look good on paper, and silence the voice inside us screaming for something more. We're told what success is supposed to look like, what happiness is supposed to feel like, and what we're supposed to value. But deep down, many of us feel off. Something doesn't add up. Here's the truth. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you dare to ask yourself. When was the last time you paused and truly interrogated the life you're living? If you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or even numb, maybe it's time to stop searching for quick fixes and start asking the uncomfortable question. But let me warn you, the answers won't always be comfortable. They might even scare you. That's okay. Growth isn't supposed to be easy. It happens when you confront the things you've been avoiding, when you strip away the layers of societal conditioning, and when you finally start living for yourself. Take a deep breath. Give yourself permission to be honest. This is about you and no one else. You deserve a life that feels real, not one that just looks good on the outside. Imagine for a moment that money and status didn't matter. Close your eyes and strip away every paycheck, every promotion, every successful image you've crafted for the world. What's left? What would you spend your days doing if money wasn't a factor? Who would you become if society's expectations were no longer weighing you down? For most of us, this question feels impossible to answer. Why? Because we've been conditioned to tie our worth to what we earn and how we're perceived. But let me ask you this. When you were a kid, before you knew what a good job or financial stability even meant, what lit you up? Was it painting, writing stories, exploring nature? Think back to a time when your dreams weren't constrained by reality. That's where your truth lives. These desires aren't random. They're clues to what your soul truly wants. And remember, it's never too late to realign your life. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow or throw caution to the wind. But you do have to take that first step toward creating a life that reflects who you really are. How many of your decisions are shaped by what other people might think? Be honest. For most of us, the answer is too many. We're terrified of being judged, misunderstood, or rejected. So we play it safe. We bite our tongues. We conform. And in doing so, we silence the most important voice of all, our own. Now, imagine for a moment that you didn't care what anyone thought of you. Imagine you could speak your truth, boldly, unapologetically. What would you say? Maybe you'd finally tell someone you love them. Or maybe you'd admit that you don't love the life you've built. Maybe you'd stand up for yourself in a way you never have before. Or maybe you'd finally look in the mirror and admit the one thing you've been too scared to say out loud. Just let it out. Because here's the truth. The more you suppress your voice, the more you lose yourself. And the only way to reclaim your power is to start speaking your truth. No matter how scary it feels. Happiness. We all chase it. But do we even know what it is? Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt genuinely happy? Think back. Was it a quiet moment with a loved one, watching a sunrise, losing yourself in a hobby? Happiness isn't found in stuff. It's found in moments. It's found in connection, creativity, and presence. But here's the tricky part. Happiness looks different for everyone. What lights you up might not light me up, and that's okay. The key is to figure out what your version of happiness looks like. In stillness. Here's the truth. Happiness isn't something you find, it's something you create. And it starts with knowing what truly matters to you. Once you figure that out, the next step is simple. Do more of it. Success. It's a word we hear constantly. But here's the question most of us never ask. What does success mean to me? For most people, the definition of success is handed to them. It's a good job, a big house, a fancy car, a picture-perfect family. It's climbing the corporate ladder or hitting a certain number in your bank account. While there's nothing wrong with those things, the problem arises when we adopt someone else's version of success without ever questioning it. Let me ask you this. Are you chasing a version of success that actually fulfills you? Or are you chasing what you've been told you're supposed to want? It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel unprepared. These emotions are not signs of weakness, they're signs of being human. But don't let them hold you hostage. The courage to face what you've been avoiding is what will set you free. Start small. Maybe today you simply acknowledge what you've been hiding. Maybe tomorrow you take one step toward addressing it. The goal isn't to have it all figured out. The goal is to stop running. Because when you stop running, you give yourself the chance to heal, to grow, and to finally embrace the person you are meant to be. Asking these questions is only the beginning. The real transformation happens when you answer them honestly and then act on those answers. It's not easy. There will be moments when the truth feels too raw, too messy. You'll be tempted to turn away, to fall back into old patterns, to tell yourself, maybe someday. But here's the thing. Someday isn't promised. The only moment you have is right now. So start today. Sit with these questions. Write down your answers. Reflect on them deeply, unapologetically. And then ask yourself, what's one small step I can take toward living a life that feels real? Because that's what this is all about. It's not about perfection or having all the answers. It's about living a life that's aligned with who you truly are, not who the world expects you to be. When you start living authentically, something incredible happens. You stop chasing approval. You stop measuring your worth by external metrics. And instead, you begin to create a life that feels good on the inside. A life that brings you joy, peace, and fulfillment. So, take the leap. Answer the questions. Face the fears.
Time. It's the one thing we all think we have more of, but the truth, it's slipping through your fingers faster than you realize. And you know it. Deep down, you feel it. That quiet panic when you look at the clock, at the calendar, at the months flying by and realize you haven't done what you said you'd do. You haven't become who you said you'd be. The hard truth, you're wasting too much time. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next year. And before you know it, years have passed. And you're still in the same place. Still making the same excuses. Still telling yourself you'll get to it eventually. But eventually is a lie you tell yourself to feel better about doing nothing. And the worst part? You're running out of eventuallys. You think you have time, but you don't. Time doesn't wait for you to get motivated. It doesn't care if you're ready, it doesn't care if you're scared, tired, or unsure. Time moves, whether you do or not. And if you're not careful, it'll leave you behind. Here's what you need to hear. The life you want isn't going to wait for you. the dreams you have, the goals you set, the person you want to become, none of that is going to happen if you keep wasting your days. You say you want more out of life, but your actions say otherwise. You're spending hours scrolling, procrastinating, putting off what you know needs to be done. And for what? To feel a little more comfortable? To avoid the discomfort of growth? That comfort you're clinging to? It's a trap. It's stealing your time. It's stealing your potential. It's keeping you from the life you're capable of living. Look, I get it. Taking action is hard. Starting is hard. Pushing through fear, doubt, and uncertainty is hard. But do you know what's even harder? Regret. Waking up one day and realizing you've wasted years of your life on things that don't matter. That you traded your dreams for distractions. That you let the clock run out while you were too busy avoiding the hard work. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop telling yourself you'll start when you feel ready. You'll never feel ready. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The stars will never align. If you keep waiting for everything to be just right, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. The truth is, time isn't the problem. The problem is you. You're the one choosing to stay stuck. You're the one choosing to spend your time on things that don't matter. You're the one choosing to let your fear, your doubt, your procrastination control you. And the longer you let that happen, the harder it's going to be to break free. But here's the good news. You can break free. You can stop wasting time. You can take control of your life, right now, today. It doesn't matter how many days, weeks, or years you've wasted. What matters is what you do with the time you have left. So, how do you stop wasting time? How do you take back control? It starts with one decision. Decide that you're done. Done making excuses, done waiting, done settling for less than what you know you're capable of, and then take action. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be something. Start small if you have to. Set a goal for today, just today. Make it specific, make it achievable, and then do it. Prove to yourself that you can follow through. And once you do, set another goal for tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. This is how you build momentum. This is how you break free from the cycle of wasting time. By taking one step, and then another, and then another. And every step you take is a reminder that you're in control, that your time belongs to you, that you're capable of creating a life that matters. But you have to want it. You have to want it more than you want comfort, more than you want ease, more than you want distractions. You have to want it enough to push through the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty. You have to want it enough to do the work, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it feels like you're not making progress. Because here's the thing about time. It rewards those who respect it. If you use your time wisely, if you invest it in the things that matter, it will pay you back in ways you can't even imagine. But if you waste it, it's gone. Forever. This is your wake-up call. Your reminder that you don't have time to waste. That the life you want is waiting for you. But it won't wait forever. So stop scrolling. Stop procrastinating. Stop making excuses. Start moving. Start building. Start becoming the person you know you're meant to be. Because one day, you'll look back on your life. And the only question that will matter is, did I use my time well? Did I live the life I was capable of living? Don't let your answer be no. Time is precious. Use it wisely. The clock is ticking and it's not going to stop for you.
Who are you? At the core of your soul. And if he can't answer that question, our conversation's over.
Every man becomes an infinitely more dangerous version of themselves the moment they realize they don't need anyone's approval or permission. Because there's no greater waste of time than defending your actions to people whose life you don't want.
Jump out of yourself and be the director. Be the director of this avatar. And then it just opens another perspective. Because in that moment, you just realize it's like a movie.
If you want to become champion, you have to sacrifice.
Starting point of great accomplishment is to dream big dreams. Number one, dream big dreams. Let your mind float free. All really exceptional men and women dream big dreams. They allow their minds to float. They think of what they could be and what they could do and what they really, really want.
There's how many doors will you go through or will you break down to get what you want? That is determination. Basically, the goal doesn't change. How you get there, you don't care about. You just care that you get there.
The gift I have, with all that being said, what you just said there, is I have the ability to see the end before the beginning even begins. And what that means is I know that to get to the very end, I can see it right now. And that feeling that I was nowhere near that fucking feeling, I was able to put myself there 1,000,000 times every fucking day. And that feeling of like, my God, that is gonna feel fucking amazing. That's what made me suffer. That's what allowed the pain to be real and say, this is worth it. I want to feel for this fucking next 18 months. It took me 18 fucking months to finally become a Navy SEAL, to finally, just get through butts. 18 months, it's 6 months. It took me 18. That's what woke me up every fucking morning was, I'm gonna put myself through this much fucking pain and suffering for a few seconds. That's all it is. A few seconds of joy. It's so fucking worth it, man.
It sounds overplayed, but it doesn't make this any less true. If you want things to change, then you have to start changing the things you're doing. So many of us are stuck in a cycle of complaining about our current situation, desiring change, and knowing that changing, something as small as even just a habit or two, would be the remedy to all of our problems, but never being able to take that first step because it just seems too scary, even when the day-to-day current situation is absolute hell. Is it worth living that out for the next 40, 50, 60 years, or does it make more sense to sacrifice just 1 year?
That part of you that feels really broken right now is actually the part of you that is growing the most. It hurts because it's changing.
If I'm running on a treadmill and I get to mile 9 and I get complete cramp in one of my legs, and I know I've told myself I'm gonna run 10 kilometers today, he goes, I will have to limp the last mile, even if no one's watching, because I can't let the demons in. And if I let the demons in, they'll show up in the 11th round of a championship fight when there's 50,000 people watching me in the audience, and I know deep in my self-story that I'm the type of person that quits when things get hard because I got off that treadmill at mile 9 when no one was watching. It would modify my self-story. The commitments we keep to ourselves and what we do when no one's watching is the most persuasive evidence that governs everything we then do every day thereafter.
It's really hard to stay motivated when you're not seeing results. It's also the most important time to stay motivated, because if you stop, you'll never get the results. Because in some seasons of life, maintaining is winning.
And especially get away from the losers. Get away from the no-hopers. Get away from the negative people, because these people will drag you down as surely as an anchor would drag you down if it was tied to your leg. I say you have to ask yourself this question. Do you want to fulfill your potential as a human being or not? If you want to fulfill your potential as a human being, here's the fact. And I've spoken to thousands of people who've told me that coming to terms with this is one of the hardest things that they ever did. Because sometimes it means that you have to say goodbye to family, say goodbye to friends, say goodbye to relatives, say goodbye to relationships.
This is a hard journey. What you're doing is hard. Most people aren't doing it. In fact, 99% of people are not on the same path as you. That you're on the hardest path possible for your life. And that means that 99%, 99 out of 100, 9 out of 10 people that you interact with on a daily basis are not going to get it. They are not going to understand. They are not going to approve. They're going to be uncomfortable. They're going to hate you a little bit. They're going to talk shit. They're going to try to convince you to be like them. And you know what you have to do? You have to ignore it all. And you have to keep moving. And you have to remember that those people are those people for a reason, and you're you for a reason.
You have time, you have family, everything what you have to sacrifice. If you're not ready to sacrifice, you have to sit home. Patience, hard work, sacrifice. Like without these things, doesn't matter how talented you are. You have to sacrifice everything what you have, you know. Then you can become great champion.
If you're not failing at something, that means you've set your goals to pass, to succeed at everything you do, which means you're not setting your goals high enough.
The unwillingness to shake from what they believe to be true. And so the thing is that if someone can't disprove why what you think is possible, that you absolutely can hold on to that with white knuckles and say, no, we will figure it out, and you will tell me what obstacles are in the way, and one by one we will dismantle them until all that is left is the goal. And so here's the tough reality that I had to realize, and I used to repeat this self: sometimes other people's dreams have to die in order for yours to live.
In some ways, I wish that I saw the world in less of a complex way. I wish that it was more like easy to me, whatever that even means. It should just be kind of, I wish I didn't think about things as much. I wish I didn't care about things as much. I wish I didn't worry. I wish I didn't have as much anxiety. Guess what? Like, you do. So how are you going to play the cards that you've been dealt? And that's a huge advantage to tons and tons and tons of ways, except for a couple. The pains are very obvious and all of the rewards are very hidden. So you need to go through. The only way out is to find them.
You think you're chasing a goal, but the goal is chasing the weak version of you. It's not about what you want. It's about what you're willing to give up to get there. Your excuses, your comfort, your craving for it to be easy. Every step forward is a burial of the quitter, of the complainer, of the one who said, maybe tomorrow. This journey doesn't ask who you are. It asks who you're willing to become.
We will never have a world that will always be peaceful. That one does not exist. We have to learn and take the world as it is. But because we cannot change the circumstances, the only thing that we think is in our hands and in our mind is the way how you are learning to adjust your view and perspective in such a way that it makes it more livable for you.
The worst piece of advice I've ever received is that good things come to those who wait. Good things don't come to those who wait. Good things come to those who act upon what they know through consistency and repetition. That's how good things happen. Things don't just fall on your lap. Blessings come through effort, dedication, and a lot of energy towards your goal and endeavor.
And you can beat 99% of people without being smarter or luckier, but by being willing to endure pain and uncertainty for longer. That's the path up the mountain.